Could you kind of like walk us through, what the experience is like as far as like, buying and selling through Clutch?
Yeah, so buying, selling a car to us is super easy. Our NPS on the sell is like something like 90 plus. We've built, and this is where we spent the bulk of our energy around technologies, around building machine learning models for each make and model of car that allows a customer to come in, put in their license plate information, and for us to generate an instant cash offer for their vehicle. And so if as long as you're somewhat truthful around the quality of your vehicle, which most customers are, we will generate and honor the price of that car. And so that's our supply funnel, and that allows us to basically. And I think you have to invest in some. You have to understand where the pain points are in your. In the U.S., I would say supply is actually harder to get, and so there's probably an over subsidization of supply in the U.S. But it kind of depends on where you are. For us, the part where the supply market is less penetrated and allows us to then really easily scale up the supply side. And then where a lot of our constraints are frankly around the production. And so taking that supply and taking the raw material, which is a car that someone doesn't want for whatever reason, and then making that a car that's very desirable because we put a bunch of work and money into it. And so on the supply side, we built technology that allows us to price and offer a dollar value for that vehicle instantaneously. And it took us some time to figure that out. Again, a lot of these things seem very obvious in hindsight, but for us, it took us a long time to figure out that the addressable market for supply was actually bigger than the addressable market for demand. And what I mean by that is we were spending a lot of money advertising and marketing on the buy side, but the problem is on the buy side, if you only have an inventory of, let's say, 2,000 cars, the chances are, I mean, selection is so important for any marketplace. So if you're actually trying to attract that consumer on the buy side, then you need to have the exact, and every car that we have is unique, right? No two used cars are the same. And so you have to have that exact car at the right time, at the right price, with the right condition that customer wants. And if you don't have that car, as much as you might like Clutch as a platform, you're probably not going to buy from us. Whereas on the supply side, our addressable market is anyone that has a car, right? That wants to sell a car, right? And so the TAM is effectively much bigger on the supply side. And if you can generate more supply, that helps the demand side because you have more selection. And so we pivoted a lot of our marketing towards the supply side. And so 70 to 80% of our marketing dollars now go towards supply acquisition. Um, when we first started, we were actually acquiring cars from auctions, and so we weren't really truly a marketplace in that regard. We were more of like a retailer because we buy from the wholesale auction and then mark up. But there was never, because that was the model, there wasn't a lot of margin in that business, but it allowed us to scale really quickly, right? It allowed us to scale and build the supply effectively build the supply side of the marketplace faster than you could through the consumer acquisition. But the consumer acquisition is a better quality product. And so over time, we shifted from almost 90% wholesale acquisition to almost 98%, 99% consumer acquisition. So that was a big evolution for our business, and pivoting from the how we buy cars was a big factor, and I would say a lot of our more recent success. But it took a lot of work, and so that was kind of the supply piece of it. And then the demand side is that if you have good cars at good prices, it kind of like solves itself, right? Because we can market not only um, uh, through the more traditional channels, but we can do more targeted like SEO around like okay, we have you Toyota Camrys or Toyota or SEM for that matter, like 19 or whatever, not it, like 2024 Toyota Camry, and we can kind of buy those search terms, and we can list those cars on things like car gurus as well. So if you got the supply, then the demand is a lot easier.